Throwing all of its weight behind safety as a promotional device for the brand, Subaru could be considered the 21st century version of Volvo. However, unlike the Swedish company's focus with its past products, Subaru is not preoccupied with crash safety alone. Although the latest Impreza scored an impressive 35.8 points out of 37 in barrier testing en route to scoring the maximum 5-star safety rating from ANCAP. There's also Eyesight, Subaru's patented system to warn you of impending danger, and then stomp on the brakes when you're too dozy to react in time. And of course there's the well-established symmetrical all-wheel drive grip, alike with the active torque vectoring, which is a standard feature in our long-term test Impreza, in the 2.0 IS level of trim. This particular Impreza also comes with adaptive LED headlights, so it's certainly safe to drive. While the Impreza was not scalpel-like in its corner carving, its road holding was impressive and the handling was safe and consistent, thanks in part to that torque vectoring. The system made its presence felt mid-corner, smoothing the Impreza's power delivery and handling traits. On a trailing throttle, the Impreza took a neutral line and also tracked true with the throttle applied. Steering feedback and turn-in were both substantially better than earlier models wearing the same badge, but in a recent comparison against two other small cars we found the Impreza's steering was still not in the same league for feel. But the traction was unimpeachable and road holding was certainly competitive. It's encouraging to think the Impreza's new platform will also underpin the all-new WRX and STI, whenever those cars arrive. In short, this is a platform easily capable of accommodating a fair bit more power and torque than the test Impreza mustered. On the subject of output, the Impreza's horizontally opposed engine's power and torque provided linear performance, with a slight surge noticeable from 3,000 RPMs. Unfortunately, linear though the performance was, acceleration was not especially brisk. Performance was further dampened by the CVT automatic, which whined a lot when the drivetrain was working hard. All of which would be fine if reduced fuel consumption offset that performance deficit, but over several days of around town running it was hovering around 10.0 L/100 kilometers. Yet previous findings suggest CVT-equipped vehicles should excel in urban environs. During the 7-day test proper, and in freer flowing traffic, the Impreza's fuel consumption improved to 9.8 L/100 kilometers. For refinement, the engine revealed itself to be extremely free of vibration, right down to just above 1000 RPMs, where it's frequently operating when the CVT is holding a higher ratio to conserve fuel. At open road speeds the flat fours felt, as opposed to heard, as a light rumble, and only lets loose a racket when under full load and at higher revs. However, it's clanky and rattly for the first start of the day, before the engine warms up. And from a cold start, the engine initially revs moderately hard and takes a while to settle down. On a couple of occasions the CVT was also reluctant to select a forward gear, a second or two before the car would move off from a standing start. When it did so, the shift was accompanied by an inelegant thud. And the idle-stop system was not especially adept at restarting the engine without a fair degree of rocking and rolling. So the Impreza's power plant is a mixed bag, and the CVT doesn't make things substantially better. But the rest of the package is impressive overall, with the car's Eyesight system leading the way. The active safety system works better than previous iterations, picking up line markings on the shoulder of country roads which a few prestige European models don't. It does get confused by unusual roadside furniture. Approach a hairpin bend a bit hot and the outside Armco barrier will throw the Eyesight system into alarm, manifested as a soft but insistent chime. But it's less strident than some similar systems and the autonomous emergency braking is not as quickly triggered by cars in front slowing while making a left-hand turn. Another useful feature of the Eyesight system is a prompt for the driver when the car ahead has moved forward. One unusual intersection where trams turn flummoxed the Eyesight system and it actually alerted me that the car in front had moved forward, after the traffic light had already changed to red. It seems autonomous cars still have a long way to go before they can fully comprehend Melbourne's traffic flow nuances, but on balance, this is one feature we like. The Impreza's headlights were well adjusted on low beam and shone white, but were a little anemic and could do with more power. Their adaptive cornering function was useful in negotiating darker street corners. As with Subaru models generally, the Impreza's field of vision was commendable. The A-pillars are relatively narrow and set further outboard and back so you can see the traffic light across the intersection when making a right turn, not the case with some cars. I found the seats to be flat in the cushion and wide, but the side bolstering was adequate to hold the occupant in place for higher G-forces. Heating elements were welcome during colder days in the final month of winter, but the low setting didn't do much. If it's cold enough to warrant seat heating, select high every time. The instruments were easy to read, as usual in a Subaru, but the infotainment functions, combining also the climate control readout, looked a little busy. That said, the 3D rendering in the sat-nav display was wonderful. Wiper and indicator stalks were well damped and contributed to the car's overall feel of quality, fit and finish. For the three-car comparison, the Impreza took the top step of the podium for rear seat accommodation, which was more generous than the other two cars. There was plenty of headroom and knee room for adults. And there was also enough free space under the front seats to stretch out a little. But Subaru hasn't equipped this $29,000 car with adjustable rear air vents. And the lap sash belt for the center rear position has to be anchored and two buckles to be used. It also has to be unhooked from the seat's feeder before the seats are folded down, otherwise it obstructs through loading. The rear seats don't quite fold flat, but they do come pretty close. When dropped, they won't sit completely flush with the boot floor, being raised slightly higher. A space-saver spare tire resides under the boot floor, and at 345 liters, the boot itself is not especially large, although that can be forgiven in light of the extra drivetrain components underneath. For most users it will be at least adequate. As a brand new car, the Impreza still has that new car smell, but, to be honest, it's not especially pleasant. It's a bitter aroma of compounds which couldn't possibly be produced by nature. In summation, the Subaru Impreza is an easy car to drive and it comes very well equipped for the money. To be frank, it's not a car which will earn rave reviews from driving enthusiasts, but it does most things well. And there's no denying it's a car which might very well save your life one day.
We've waited a long time for Nissan to up the ante with an all-new pure electric Leaf, and it's finally arriving. There's really not much stopping the 2018 Leaf from making a strong showing, albeit with less range out of the gate than the two aforementioned rivals models, but not all people need or want the range. Nissan's Director of Product Planning for Passenger Cars and Sports Cars, Ken Compt, told Automotive News. There are EV competitors out there today with greater range. But that extra range comes with a higher price. Our customers told us that affordability was their biggest issue. They're not necessarily willing to pay for more range if they don't need it. For 80% of EV buyers, 150 miles is a good number. Nonetheless, Nissan will offer a longer range, higher performance model in early 2019 for the other 20%, 60 kWh battery with about 220 miles range. Besides range and charging infrastructure, it's likely that most Leaf drivers intend to do a lot of charging at home since those same folks are apparently not asking for huge ranges. EV adoption's primary obstacles are price, which Nissan takes the edge in, and dealer support. Automotive News spoke with New York Nissan dealer owner, Wayne Siegel. He shared, "Frankly, we didn't have much success selling the Leaf when it first came out. We're on Long Island, and our customers had range anxiety. So we didn't sell any. Now, this one." Referring to the 2018 Leaf, "We're on board with this one. It's going to knock it out of the park." Jose Munoz, Chief Performance Officer and Chairman of Management Committee for Nissan North America, is confident that this type of mentality will pave the way for Leaf 2.0. He said that only about 300 of Nissan's 1,100 retailers have made a concerted effort to market the first-generation Leaf. He explained, "They all sell it, but some do a better job of it. We want everyone to get engaged, and that means that we also need to do more." Munoz told Automotive News that the automaker aims to be actively engaged in assisting dealers with the future expectation. He believes that the car's range will be a game-changer for the new Leaf, especially since the vehicle is priced well below any other competitors. The 2018 Leaf starts at $29,990/$30,875 including destination. The current 2017 Leaf has an MSRP of $31,565 when you tack on the destination. Interestingly, when the Leaf first came out, it was priced at nearly $3,000 more than the 2018 base price and traveled less than half the miles on a charge, 73. The automaker is also revamping the way in which it markets the Leaf. Director of EV Marketing and Sales Strategy, Brian Maragno, explained that Leaf consumers no longer need to be told that the car is green-friendly and doesn't require gasoline. Instead, Nissan is focusing on something called EV-ness in the new campaign. According to Maragno, this means that the automaker will spend more time focusing on the other positive aspects of EVs, and more specifically, the new Leaf. Marketing will stress the car's performance, ride quality, tech, and comfort, along with upgraded interior appointments, infotainment screen, and flashier styling cues. It will be interesting to see how the rivalry between the 2018 Nissan Leaf, the Chevrolet Bolt, and the Tesla Model 3 will play out from a sales standpoint. We expect the Leaf to fare very well for what it is, and who it's marketed toward. It should also work to encourage EV newbies to jump on the bandwagon. The more interesting part will be further down the road when a myriad of other competitors hit our roadways.